right. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the real reason you can't stay consistent. So Coach Christian here, with my main man, Seth Humphrey, Inside the Mill podcast, and real reason you can't stay consistent. And a lot of people, man, they'll talk about how I'm just not disciplined. I don't work out. I'm not this, I'm not that. And they tell themselves all these stories. And it's biggest piece of it is it's your identity. It's your identity, and who you say you are is the real reason you can't stay consistent. We see it all the time here at the Vitality Mill. We bring someone in on, 30 day kickstart, or we bring somebody in on a 42-day challenge, and they're fired up, right? Like they signed up for the challenge, so they're motivated in that moment. And they go through the 42 days, and then once the 42 days happens, they kind of take their foot off the gas. And it's all within those 42 days, they tried to build a new person on some habits and just things that they couldn't sustainably do. And they never, all while that time, they were just looked at as a challenge, and they didn't look at it like, hey, this is what I'll do for long term. And it's, we see it all the time. And then once the 42 days is over, then they start to take their foot off of all those things that got them successful on that challenge. And then they just fall back into the same person because they didn't work on the deep down core during that 42-day challenge, or whatever it may be that got them fired up to even show up.
It's like the Bible. It's like the Bible story when you build your house on the sand,
mm-hmm.
versus building your house on the rock. We've made, and this is everybody, it doesn't matter what level you are, we've make decisions that we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about this all the time, that you have your perspective and I have my perspective of the way we see life through. And the only thing that differentiates that is like you have rules and laws on your life and my life the same way. I have rules and laws for myself that was passed down to me. Maybe it might be parents, it might be someone who has you built a great relationship with, a friend. It may be a pastor. It may be whatever it is. Then they had their rules and their laws for their life, and they said, this is the way that we do it, and this is how it is. And then we adopt those, and we're just like, oh, this is the way it is.
Yep.
But as we get older, everything changes. Like we're living in a chat GPT era. Like there's so many things that have changed over the years that we learn more about the science and things like that when it comes to working out and fitness and nutrition. And so as we get older, like we look at our life and the things that are going on, and we have like kind of a frame, if you think about it. And it's just like a picture frame that you're looking through. And that's how you see everything. And so that is made up of four things: your beliefs, your stories that you continue to run, your laws, and then your rules for your life. And if we don't ever, we talk about this all the time, if we don't ever like question those and break those and try to
Challenge
do something
them.
different and challenge them. And so that's what I think that's what happens with a lot of people. You said that like some people will get through 42 days. Yeah, I know people that don't even get to 2 weeks. And then they go back to their story and their identity of the way they see things. And recently I had this happen with an online client. I could tell that there was an issue and there was a problem and what the follow through.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to get down to like the nitty gritty. What's the problem? What's the issue? What's the struggle? And you give them very, very basic things, but they hold on to their identity of who they've always been. And they don't ever let go of that. Well, if you don't let go of this, then you can't grab on to that new thing, right? And so like you're dragging your old version into this new way of living, this new life. If you don't ever let go of that, then now we're just holding on. And when the 2 weeks pass or 3 weeks pass, They'll just tap out and say, I'm done. I can't do this. This is not who I am. It was like, well, yeah, because you never fully just went in and submitted, like let go,
Yeah.
and understand that like what got us here is not going to get us there. And that there's going to be, and this is harsh for some people when I say this, but there's going to be versions of yourself that you've got to kill off that because they don't serve you anymore. And if you don't ever try to like go like, hey, you know what? I don't like water. I just use that for example. I don't like water. I don't drink water. I don't like water. That's like, well, yeah, like, but it's a necessity. And we know it's like not I think that water may help you. It's like, it helps you. It's like, or oh, I drink caffeine all the way up until midnight or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, that's what you've always done, but that's gotten you the results that you have right now. And so at some point we have to change that. So,
and what's even harder than not only killing the version off of yourself you don't like, some people need to kill off the friend group that they're around and the environment that they're exposing themselves to, because that's a real reason that they can't even work on themselves, because they have all this other noise of people around them, whether it be your spouse, which is sad, but that happens a lot of time. Like one spouse tries to do better, but the other one doesn't want them to do better than what they're doing because they don't want to take action on, the foods that they're putting in their mouth and start to work on themselves. And so they hold back their spouse, and then that's just going to pull them down. And so sometimes you just have to separate yourself, or just take the initiative. Hey, I'm going to lead and I'm just going to do it regardless with the people that are around me. A lot of times what you'll find out is people like, they start to see what you're doing. They start to see your results and they go, I'm going to do what that person's doing, because like things in their life start to change differently. The confidence that they start to have, and the things that they start to achieve because of the confidence that they have. And so not only killing versions off of yourself, but also just like putting yourself in a different environment that's going to set you up for more success. When you're always exposing yourself to that bad and those things that hold you back, it's going to be hard to be able to get over that hump.
Yeah. So and people won't like it.
No.
When you start to put your flag in the sand and say, like, hey, this is where I'm going, people aren't going to like that, and they're going to push you away, and they're going to talk behind your talk about you and who does he think he is doing this or whatever it may be. But when you just say like, and understand that you get one chance at this life, that if you don't make that move now, then it may be something that you never make that move. And like for me, it's a constant reminder for myself, and like that my father had regret on his deathbed. There was regret. And I just don't ever want to be that at that point in my life where I'm like, damn, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. And so there's a time that you're going to have to go, like you said, it's like, hey, these people, love them, but I've got to separate myself for a little bit and go to work on myself. And then they may follow and they may not. Yep. And if they don't follow, then they just weren't supposed to go there. I think that's a part of us as well. We think that people are supposed to be with us for the rest of our lives. Yeah. And it's like, I've got individuals that I love deeply, but they're just not around anymore. That's not my option. Like that's not on me. It's something they decided that they chose that. So, that's the real big issue when it comes to identity is like, you have to wake up, and it's not just a 42 day. It's not like 90 day. It's a continuously waking up and proving to yourself that you're this new guy. Yeah. That you're this new woman, that you're this new version of yourself. And this is the biggest issue that people have is when you decide that you are not going to continue to follow this new identity, you don't fall down to your, where you started. Mm-hmm. Like you fall down way deeper, because the way you know now is, you know what you're capable of. Yep. You've shown up for this amount of time. You've done these things. And now you've started to show yourself, like, and then you let that go down. You know, in the deep down, like, oh man,
the guilt and the shame is even deeper, because before you might have not even known the possibilities. Now you kind of get a little bit of sight on that possibility, and now that you're not doing what you know you need to be, then the guilt and the shame, it just gets deeper and deeper. And yeah, you're totally right. You just dug yourself a deeper hole.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the possibility.
Yeah.
And the possibility is that just the freedom and power you have over your life. And who wants to, it becomes like, oh, am I going to work out today? Like you don't even have that thought anymore. It's just a part of what you do because you have a new identity and you've seen all the fruit that you've gotten from the labor that you put in. And it just makes you want to do that. You don't rely on your emotions anymore of, do I feel motivated today? Do I feel like I want to do this? It doesn't matter. You get up and you just do it. And then we're not just talking about working out. What that starts to lead to is hard conversations that you have into your life. And that's what's so awesome about this is once you take a handle of the things that you're doing personally, as far as the foods that you put into your mouth, getting up and working out, going through hard things like that, you start to see what you're capable of other hard things in life with conversations you might have to have or situations that come across at work. Like you start to get more confident because you just know who you are rooted deep down. And then you just have more confidence in yourself. And it's just a happier, just a very powerful life to live.
I remember sending you a message. It's probably been a few years ago now, but it was like 4 different versions of like, I might do this. I think I might do this. I must do this. I am this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the piece that you're talking about. It's like you've built so much irrefutable evidence of the person that you are that like when it comes to working out, we've talked about this before, when it comes to working out, it's like I am working out.
Yeah.
It's not a question of like, when I say I am working out, I mean that like it's who I am. Like I do this and I get after it on a daily basis. Now that looks different. You know, this morning it was a 1 mile ruck and getting in the sauna and the cold plunge and doing that stuff. And then I'll get my workout in later. That doesn't have to be your identity.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I know that I got to get steps in.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I know that I want to get in the sauna because I know that heart attacks decrease almost 50%. And my family's full of heart failure patients. Or my dad was a heart failure patient. My uncle had a heart attack, passed away. My grandpa had a heart attack, passed away. So I could sit back and go like, oh, I'm not going to do it because I work out. Or I can just go like, hey, every little thing that I could possibly do. So like I get in the sauna. So like there's versions of yourself that like when you just have to start to own like in everything. And when you start to do that, what starts to happen is when you look at yourself in the mirror, you start to see a different version of yourself. And that starts to be like that we talk about that peeling of the onion. Mm-hmm. It starts to be like, oh, well, I'm signing up for this 42-day program or this 12 and 12 program, whatever. And it's like just showing up and signing up and getting out of your comfort level. You just reveal the new version. Then you go, hey, I'm going to show up at least 3 days a week. Boom. I'm going to start getting my steps in. Just take another version down. Then hey, I'm going to start watching my food. I'm going to start doing these little, and you slowly just every day just start to fall into these practices. And the next thing you know, it's like not a question on will I do this? It's no, that's who I am. I'm going to do this. And when that starts to happen, you start to have more confidence in yourself. You start to have certainty in yourself. You start to show up differently. As you mentioned, you start to have those tough conversations and say things that you wouldn't usually say. Yep. You start to show up differently as a parent. You start to show up differently as a spouse, and everything starts to open up, and you start to see what the possibilities are for your life. And you start to go like, oh, what would happen next? If I went to this next level, what would happen? And it just opens everything else up because now you know what you're capable of.
Exactly. And clients who have adopted that, we see it here in the gym, the difference. People who have actually shifted and changed their identity, whenever it's not like, oh, I'm going on vacation. And we have some clients that go on vacation and then they get back from vacation and then we still don't see them. They're back in town. We don't see them for 2 or 3 weeks before we even see them one time back into the gym. It's because like they never shifted their identity. So they get back from vacation and they let other things go ahead of working out because they've gotten out of the routine of things. But our clients who get the most who have really changed their identity, even on vacation, they're not out of the routine. They're sending me pictures of like, hey, this is what I got access to at the gym. What can I do? Hey, Christian, can I borrow a couple of those bands? I'm going to be gone for about 5 days. I want to be able to, do some band work while I'm gone. Hey, I don't have any access to anything at all. Can you give me some mobility to do? Like they're making sure that they're going to take what they're doing here, take it with them because it's who they are. And they know it doesn't matter if I'm here or if I'm 100 miles away. I'm going to still do what I do on a daily basis because this is who I am and this is what I've adopted my life to be around.
And your kids see that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, mom or dad's going to go work out. Mom and dad are making healthier choices. And they start to go like, oh, even on vacation, you're going to do this?
Yeah.
And it's like you get around people that aren't doing that. And they're like, oh, you're working out on vacation.
Bro, go to a hotel gym and go look in there. You see anybody in there?
Yeah.
Not very often.
Yeah, me and you. So like, that's kind of the, I want to feel good and I want to set the standard and I want to be my very best. And like, that means that every day I got to wake up and I got a decision to make. And that's the same thing for everyone. So, what's the principle when you start to dive in deeper on that?
Give us the principle of how your behavior always follows your identity. And with a lot of people, it's this things that they tell themselves. A lot of people go, well, I'm just a busy parent, or I've got too much going on at work. And they tell themselves that they have all that going on. So they start to justify why they can't work out. They start to justify, but instead, like, we need to have, hey, I can make time for this. You need to change the stories that you're telling yourself. Like, I don't skip. I do show up. It's changing the stories that you tell yourself in order to help you get those results. But if you're always speaking negative thoughts and I can't do this, I can't do that, and making excuses for why you can't do things, that's going to keep you stuck. And that's going to keep you that inconsistent person that you're frustrated that you are.
Yeah. Your identity starts to make your decisions to where it's not even a question.
Yeah.
So like you automatically just start falling into these decisions. And as you start to do that, your results start to change. And as I was saying it's like once that your results start to change, then it almost opens up a new, more capacity and, more space. And you start to understand and start to wonder, like, what would happen if I started doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if I took this to another level? And then now life starts to become fun.
Yep.
And you start to get results across the board. So, yeah.
Yeah. You want to let's break down the path.
Yeah. So like, first off, like when you start with simplicity, like if you say you're going to do something, follow through with it. That's the first thing. Like, be that version of yourself that's like, I do what I said I'm going to do. That's our core value here at the Vitality Mill. I do what I said I'm going to do. Now, when it's like raining outside and you said you're going to go walk in the morning, and like, no, that's not ideal. Like,
yeah.
But you start to go like, hey, I said I'm going to go walk. So I'm going to go get my walk in the rain. It's like you've never been wet before. You take a shower hopefully every day. So you get wet.
Even
so
just as simple of I move daily, regardless of what time I do that during my day, whether it's in the morning. If I didn't get it done in the morning, I'm going to do it in the afternoon after lunch. Like, just give yourself simple, sustainable things that you can do on the daily. And I'm a person that moves daily.
Or I'm protein. I'm going to eat protein with every meal. It's just these little bitty pivots and tweaks. And that's what I saw recently on went on that vacation, into Greece and stuff, and was around a lot of individuals, and for like 40 other individuals, and just like the habits that they had. I just started looking and really noticing, like, man, it's legit just little small pivots that you just start to change. Like, hey, I don't drink Cokes. And so like, or I eat protein with every meal. And these little bitty pivots. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to quit eating 2 or 3 hours before bed. I'm going to get up at this time and go work out, whatever it is. And you follow through with it. That's when your identity starts to change. But here's what you have to understand is the more you try to kill a version of yourself off, the harder it's going to be, because that version is so ingrained in you and it's holding on for dear life because it understands. But every decision you make it loosens that grip. And the next thing you know is you're free. But then we go to a whole nother level because now we've got a whole nother version of ourselves that's like, okay, well, I've dropped 30, 40 pounds, but if you have another 20 or 30 pounds to lose, then it's like, let's go to that next level. Yep. And dude, we see so many people that drop that initial 30, 40, 50 pounds, and then they just get comfortable and they just like, oh, I made it. And it's like, well, no, you didn't. Like you still have some weight to lose. Now you can start to actually start to build some lean muscle. And now we can actually start to, maybe you're going and doing a race or doing something else. And so like there's levels to it, but I think we get comfortable and we get bored. And then that's when that old version that you killed off starts to pop back up and go, hey, you're not going to go work out? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go by and grab some breakfast or something.
Yeah, bro.
So then it starts and then you start making those same decisions that you used to make that you killed off.
What's so crazy is just as much as you can shift your identity to become this person, resistance never stops working against you. So the more that you stop investing into that person, it's like tug of war. It's like, okay, now you're letting it pull you back this direction because you stopped doing all those habits that got you there. And if you keep doing that, then it's going to pull you back into your old identity. Just because you've built that identity and that's who you were at one specific time, if you don't keep investing into that and building up that person, you can just as easily become that old identity and that version that you just that you had just killed off. And so I would say step 2 on the path is set the standard. Don't let all these other things around you, don't let resistance pull you back into that person that you used to be. Like you flat out, you just set the standard. Hey, I work out 3 days a week.
I would say how do you do that though? Is like, that'd be the question that some people are going to be like, well, how do you make that happen? Don't fall off more than one day in a row.
Yep.
So like no one's saying like you can't have like pizza or you can't have something that like you can't have ice cream, you can't enjoy life and do things. It's splurge and then get right back on it.
Yep.
Like that's how you do it. But what happens is you get one day beat you.
Yeah.
And then another day comes, another day starts, and another day starts. The next thing you know, you're deep in this pit, and like individuals that are already like that run with us is like, yeah, we'll be there for you, but like we're going.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to stop. We got versions of ourselves that we know that's at the top of the peak, and we're going to go see that version. So it's like, hey, we want you to come with us, but like we can't track backwards and go down in that pit with you. We've got to go. And so like that's the other side of it.
Well, think about it like this, like stacking dominoes. Like you stack, say you build habits and you stack like 5 dominoes. So now we're up to here. And then say you do have something where, hey, I went and had pizza with my family. Take a domino off, but look, I still got 4 dominoes there. But if we just had pizza. All right, I'm going to sit for a little bit. I'm not going to get any steps in. Then we're going to go have a beer that night. Well, then you start taking dominoes down. But if you just had that pizza and then you get back to stacking your habits and doing what you did, we're still building even though you take one of those dominoes off. But you got to keep on. And that's what I love to tell clients. I'm like, hey, just don't do it twice. If you do it once, don't do it twice. And so then that builds those habits where you don't let yourself fall into and build momentum in the other direction. You're able to keep building that momentum and going from there. And something that helps out is just having non-negotiables every day. Hey, these are just a few simple, sustainable things that I do every single day. And if I stick to those, then I'm going to be able to make progress and stay consistent. But you got to show yourself consistency more often than you show yourself inconsistency if you want to.
That's what we talk about, that floor of saying like, hey, I'm at least getting 10,000 steps.
Yep.
I'm at least working out 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
You start to go that where it's like, hey, this is the minimum that I'm going to do. This is the ceiling. And you don't ever fall past that minimum. Like, I'm sure you have like, you work out way more than you need to sometimes, I think, but, I think we have our minimum. You're just your ceiling. You're always the ceiling is your minimum kind of deal.
Well, I would say my minimum is I do work out every day. And then what that looks like, some days it's, don't get me wrong, like it's just mobility and then maybe going on like a walk with my wife or something like that. Now that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, when's that? When's that happen?
That's the bare, but regardless, I'm going to have some type of like movement that day. But then I can also build that up and turn it up and have a tough workout.
And you don't have to be like, it don't have to be the level that you're like. There was probably a time where you started here and then it was like, oh, and it's the same thing with me. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm working out every day. I'm going to do something every day. But just as I've gotten older, it's been like, I know that like more is not always going to be like going to be better for me as far as my age and what I'm trying to do. And so I just have to go like, hey, I'm going to at least get 4 days a week of strength training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get my steps in, at least 10K steps every day. I'm going to eat my foods and do the things and follow the plan. And then on the weekend, I'll let myself have a little bit and back off a little bit, but it's still applying pressure as well. It's like trying to like not go over the deep end. And I think a lot of people, that's just being bored. A lot of people don't know how and don't understand that
it's okay to be bored.
It's okay to be bored.
Yeah.
And just you sitting there and then you start to think about food or something like that. It's like oftentimes we got to keep up and keep moving, have something that you're working towards, some type of mission or something that you're going after. It's like, hey, I can have a couple pieces of pizza, but I can't have the whole thing because I'm going towards this guy or this version of myself or whatever.
Yeah. Well, flat out, your mind is happiest whenever you're making progress. But if you don't have a plan, what are you making progress on? Mm-hmm. You don't have any, there's nothing to track. There's nothing scalable on that. So piece number 3 is tracking your consistency and not your perfection, because every day is going to bring its own challenges. You're not going to be perfect. There's going to be times where, you might get your workout in and you just weren't feeling it. It wasn't one of your better workouts. We have days like that, but regardless, we're still going to do it. And then tomorrow we're going to show up again, and tomorrow might be an awesome workout, but it's not going to be perfect. And whenever you try to build these perfect plans and things don't work out that way, and then you get frustrated and you allow that to pull you back into that hole. So just flat out, just staying consistent, tracking your consistency is what's going to give you those results and allow you to not be that person that keeps on falling into those same old habits that lead to the inconsistency. So step number 3 is just track your consistency and not your perfection. And then if you want to touch on the last piece to the path, is get an identity aligned environment. So surround yourself around people that are. That's
why coming in and having around the individuals inside the Vitality, it's just proximity.
Yeah.
You get around Christian, you get around me, you get around Isaac, you get around clients that have been here for a while that have gotten amazing results. You see their amazing results. You start to follow, you ask questions, you learn. And this is the same thing on the outside of it. It's not going to be I got to make my husband, or I got to make my wife, I got to make my kids, I got to make people. Like, no, that's power versus force. Nobody wants to be forced into doing anything. So power is you setting the standard, you being the lighthouse, and you just showing up. And what's going to happen is you show up as your authentic self, your best self, and you start to shed the versions of yourself. And what's going to start happening is people are going to want to be around you. And then like you're going to start to create new friends, and they're going to have the same habits that you have, and they're like not the bad habits, but the positive habits. And so it's just like you start to switch out. There's nothing wrong with the friends that aren't trying to get better, but it's just like, hey, I've got to go here, and if you don't want to go, then that's fine, but I got to go here. And what starts to happen is when you show up and they see your results, then powerfully they start to go like, hey, I want to follow. I want to do that. I want to be like that person. I want to be like you. And they start to make that same change. But you've got to get out of your comfort zone, and you got to get around individuals that are pushing, that can show you the of what the possibilities are. And so you can see like, oh, how long have you been working out? Oh, you've got this many. It's like I've been showing these and it's been a lot of ladies who have been canceling like appointments like a day of our, and so and I know they have these stories of like, oh, I'm 40 or 50 or and I got injuries. And one of the things I love to do, give you and Isaac props on Catherine. Catherine's in her 70s, and she come in here, and it didn't start off smooth. We had to call her up.
It took her 3 weeks 3 weeks to a month to even get her into the door.
No, she paid for a month.
Yep.
She didn't show up.
That's right.
We gave her another month.
Yep.
And then she started showing up, following the program.
Yep.
And she's 30 pounds down.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been stories of, I'm too old. I got just
well, here's the thing, bro. There was stories. Yeah. Like, I hopped on a couple calls with her, like, Catherine, hey, I really want to see you. Like, I know she had paid, so I wanted her to get through the door. And obviously, like, we've worked with so many people. We know that once you get in here and start to surround yourself around those people, you're going to get the results. You're going to see what you're capable of. And then it opens up a whole new just avenue of what you can do. And that's exactly what happened with her. As I hopped on the call, she goes, Christian, I have a hard time just walking out of my front door and walk into my car. And she's like, and I've got horses, I've got land, I've got things that I need to do, and I have zero confidence to do it. And I'm forking out all this money, having people do things that I should be able to do because they're simple, easy tasks. I have a hard time even carrying my groceries in. I have a hard time. It's a win for me if I can reach up and shut my trunk of my car door, like things that are that simple to us. But for her, that was like something she couldn't even do.
And it used to be simple, though, for her. She did that for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then, we got her through the door, and she had all these questions and was real nervous about it from day one. We obviously met her where she was and then took her through that workout. It was just an assessment. It was seeing what she was able to do. That way we can start to build things around her moving forward. And then now she's been with us this is going on her 13th week. And she's down 30 plus pounds. She's lifting way more weight than she even knew that she was capable of doing. But just the confidence, like whenever we always used to have to stretch her back and her piriformis and stuff, because anytime she would hinge, it would irritate her back. And so I would have her do that active recovery in between her sets. Like, she doesn't even, we still stretch and things like that, but now like she picks weights up with a lot more confidence. She doesn't take as many breaks, and it's just the confidence that she has. And I mean, I should definitely schedule something and get her on here just to have her tell her story, because it's just awesome to see, man, just the confidence that she has now. But
but that's not, I mean, this is a common occurrence. It's just, it's just fun. Tons whenever you don't get very many 70-something-year-olds that have the courage to say like, hey, I'm not ready to give up. And so when we get that opportunity, I'll be transparent. Like it's sometimes you get individuals in, you're like, oh, I don't know. Are they going to be able to, are we going to be able to, like, are they going to follow through? Is this going to be happening?
Well, that's the thing. Are they going to follow through too?
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like Catherine was a client back in 2006, 2007. And she, if she went a long time without being in here and stuff. And so I remember back then it was kind of iffy if she was going to show up and stuff. And so I guess that we can end that at that is like, even at 70 plus years old, your identity can start to change. Once you start to just decide that you're not happy with your current reality and that you want to change something, then oftentimes how you're going to break that frame and how you're going to question those stories and how you're going to change those beliefs. And that's what you have to do. You have to change the stories and the beliefs before you're ever going to be able to change the rules and the laws that you have for your life. Those two have to change. And then your rules and your laws for your life would start to change. And oftentimes it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it on the other side of just saying like, hey, you know what? Like, this is not who I want to be. And I know that I want to be able to, 'cause that's the thing is, it's like a majority of these people like Catherine is like, you work your whole stinking life to get to this point, to be able to enjoy it. And that's just what I saw with like my father. It's like 69 years old. And he's like, he got to this point in his life where he should have been able to enjoy grandkids. He should have been able to enjoy vacations. He should have been able to do all these different things. And with just a lack of, changing the identity, because he always went back to his old ways. My dad would have heart attacks, and then he would stop salt. I remember him going and walking on our busy highway that was right by our house. He'd go out and walk. He'd look at the cows and stuff, and like he'd put the effort in. But he would put that effort in for a month, 2 months, when he started to feel like that he was getting a little progress and was doing good. and then he would fall back off. And then when he'd fall back off, he would have another heart attack. Might be a year or 2 years down the road. But those are like signs that like something needs to change. When you wake up and you have pain in your piriformis and your hips, or you have struggle reaching that trunk or walking that up those steps or whatever, those are alarm clocks saying, hey, something needs to change. And if you continue to do what you always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. So,
yeah, I think that's great. And that's kind of the thing with your dad, man, is he never allowed his identity to shift to, hey, this is the person that I am that's going to allow me to do this, because he worked his butt off his whole life, but he never made the daily deposits that he needed to allow him to be able to work at that level. And eventually it wasn't until he would notice alarm clocks pop up that he would take action, and then he would stop a little bit, and then alarm clocks would pop up again, and then he would take action again. Which is just shifting your identity, and people do it all the time, man. They're consistent for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they just fall off again. And so it's until you become that person, you're always going to be the same person.
Now to end it, and we'll kind of finish it at this, is like that experience with my father is like everything. In every situation where there's a negative, there's always a positive. And so that negative situation with my father, like it created me, because like what I watched was like, and this is going to be for you and your kids. Your kids are either going to say, hey, I want to be just like my mom and dad. Like, I want to be just like them. Like, look at their results. I'm so grateful for them. And I want to be just like that. Or they're going to be like, hey, I love my mom and dad. They're great people, but I do not want the results that they have. And you get to decide like which ones it's going to be. Is your parents going to be, or your kids going to be, hey, I want to be just like my mom and dad, or they're going to be like, mom and dad were awesome, but I don't want the results that they have. And I want to start making shifts. And that's all I did was like, I looked, and it was mid, I was 33, 34 years old, whereas I started to make my big shift of, okay, well, I see that my dad is 69 passing away, and that means I got 35 years left. Is the way I looked at it, was I got 35 years left to live. If my dad was 69 when he passed, let's say I passed at 69 when I was 34, when I lost him, I was looking at it as, okay, well, I want to make sure that I'm following through and doing what needs to be done, and start to change that, because I don't want to go down that same path. So,
and I saw a post on social media, and I might butcher it. I might not say it perfectly, but it really hit deep. And it was, your kid is 20 years older than they are now, and they weigh what you weigh. They eat the kind of food that you eat. They do what you do on a daily basis, and they feel the way that you feel internally right now. Are you happy with who your kid turned out to be? It's like, man, I saw that post, and like, if you're not happy with who your kid turned out to be, then that's just you got to take action on what you're doing right now, because you're leading your kids. You're leading that generation. So if you don't like the way that you feel, then it's gonna start with you, because they're gonna follow in line. So
I think that's
deep.
Yeah, you can leave with that for sure.
Yeah.
What anything else you want to add, or?
I mean, we can pitch our 12 and 12.
Yeah.
30-day.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that we're going to be shifting up here pretty soon is like, just like with what we're talking about, there's like levels to this. And so as the Vitality Mill, we've done drop-in schedules, and that's the way we've worked, and we'll continue to work that way because it works best for our clients. But
we have some clients that have built that identity.
Yeah. And they don't have anywhere to go, and they don't want to go to another gym. They don't want to do anything, and they want to follow our programming and stuff like that. So we're going to be opening up the gym to those individuals that want to stay around, that maybe they don't need our assistance necessarily with things, but they need
a plan.
Yeah, they want the workout, and they want to come in, and they want to still continue stuff, but maybe they just don't need our coaching anymore. We're going to open that up. But here's the thing is like, no one's going to come into the Vitality Mill without being coached up to a level that we're comfortable of knowing that, like, hey, this person knows how to work out. They know they know mobility. They know strength training. They know how to eat right. They know how to do these things. And so that's all we're trying to set up. is to get through a time and a period of like where you can kind of graduate to be able to be off on your own. But we got to get you there. And so we're going to have like what we call a Vitality Mill Academy, where it just brings people in. They get to experience what it is to be a part of the Vitality Mill. We can lay down the foundational rules and habits and start
around
to get
nutrition,
them
around training.
Yeah. And so that they can start to follow that and get results. And then they can continue to do that for the remainder. Hopefully they do it for the rest of their life, kind of a deal, and their identity changes. But that gives them that option. And so, right now, that's going to start soon. But right now is our 12 and 12 program. That is another way of doing it is it gets us through phase 1 and phase 2 of our program, which is that momentum and that skill set phase. If we get through those 2 phases, then we know that over the course of 6 months, our clients are set up. So the way that works is you come in and you show up and you pay for 12 weeks and then you follow through. And by you following through, then we give you another 12 weeks. The only reason we do that is because, like I talked about, we've seen clients that will come in, they'll get amazing results, or they'll start doing the things right for 2 to 3 weeks, and then they go back to their old habits. But if you had that 12 weeks, like attached to that, saying like, hey, I get another 12 weeks after this,
after I earn it.
Yeah. Then it's one of those things where it's a identity has shifted. And now you're like, okay, well, this is starting to become who I am. And now you start to get those results. And we got 6 months to get through that. And it sets them up to be able to win long term. They can go to a new gym, or they continue to stay with us and, potentially continue to go through, like we're talking about, our new program that we're going to start offering up to the clients that kind of graduate through that. So
for sure.
So, a simple way is, you can shoot us a message and just say like, hey, I'm interested. I got a guy the other day that had been watching the content for a while. He just shot a message and I was able to give him information. We're going to set up a time for him to come in and then go from there. It can be as simple as that. We're not hard to find. We're on social media. I'll let Christian give his social media here in a second. And then, I'm at Seth, .p Humphrey. And you can come and you can, get content there and or you can go to the Vitality Mill and just message us that way, however you want to do it.